On a crisp and cheerful New Year's Eve, the small town of Maplewood was buzzing with festive energy. The streets twinkled with bright lights, in shades of red, green, yellow, and blue. The air was filled with the sweet scent of holiday treats, and the sounds of laughter echoed from every corner. People bundled in cozy scarves and hats moved joyfully through the streets, eagerly preparing for the big celebration. In a warm house near the heart of town, a young boy named Luca sat by the window. He gazed out at the bustling streets, his eyes filled with wonder. The bright lights and the cheerful people all around made him feel excited. But there was something else tugging at his heart. It was the quiet faces of those on the sidelines that caught his attention, and as he watched them, he began to feel a growing desire to do something special this year. Something more than just enjoying the festivities. Luca sat there for a moment, deep in thought, his chin resting in his hand. The joy of the season filled the air, but his thoughts wandered to the people who seemed lonely, cold, or in need. How can I help them? He wondered quietly, his heart heavy with the desire to make a difference. Just then, his mother entered the room. She could see the thoughtful expression on Luca's face, and sat down beside him, her smile soft and warm. "What's on your mind, my dear?" she asked gently. Luca looked up, his eyes filled with determination. "I want to help, Mom. I want to do something for the people who don't have much this new year." His mother smiled knowingly and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Kindness, Luca," she said, "is a gift you give with your heart. It's not about what you have, but about what you can share. When you spread love, it comes back to you in ways you can't even imagine." Luca nodded, feeling a spark of hope in his chest. He was ready to begin his journey of kindness. With his heart full of determination, Luca stepped out into the bustling streets of Maplewood. He carried a basket filled with warm bread and delicious food his mother had prepared. As he walked through the busy square, he noticed an elderly woman sitting alone on the edge of a bench, bundled up in a thin scarf. Her face was tired, and her clothes looked worn. Without a second thought, Luca walked up to her. "Excuse me," he said, his voice gentle. "Would you like something to eat?" "I brought extra." The woman looked up, surprised by his kindness. Her eyes filled with gratitude as she accepted the basket. "Thank you, young man," she said, her voice warm and full of emotion. "You've made my day brighter." Luca smiled as he saw her start to enjoy the food. With a light heart, he continued his walk, knowing that he had already made a difference. As Luca continued down the street, he came across a young mother sitting outside a small shop, trying to keep her baby warm in the chilly evening air. The child looked cold, wrapped in a thick coat, while the mother gently held him in her arms. Luca noticed that her eyes looked tired and worried. Luca approached them with a cheerful smile. "I have an extra scarf," he said. "Maybe it will help keep you both warm." The mother looked up in surprise, her face softening as she accepted the scarf. "Thank you," she said, her voice full of relief and gratitude. "This means so much to us." Luca smiled, watching the baby snuggle into the warmth of the scarf. He felt his heart swell with happiness, knowing that his small act of kindness had made their day a little better. By now, Luca's basket was empty, but his heart was full. He had shared his food, his scarf, and his kindness with others throughout the town. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the streets, Luca walked home. The cool evening air felt refreshing, but it was the warmth in his chest that truly made him feel alive. When he reached his house, he saw his parents waiting for him on the front porch, their faces filled with pride. The porch was decorated with lanterns and wreaths, casting a soft light that made the whole scene feel warm and inviting. "How was your walk?" his dad asked, his voice filled with love. Luca smiled brightly. "I helped some people, Dad. I think it's been the best New Year's Eve ever." His parents hugged him tightly, their hearts full of pride. "We're so proud of you, Luca," his mother said. "You've made this New Year's Eve brighter for everyone." Luca beamed, his heart swelling with happiness. He had learned that the true magic of the season wasn't in the gifts or the celebrations. It was in the kindness shared between people. Later that evening, the town of Maplewood gathered in the town square to celebrate the coming of a new year. The sky above was filled with fireworks, each burst of color lighting up the night. Luca stood in the middle of the square, surrounded by friends, neighbors, and even strangers, all sharing in the joy of the season. Luca looked up at the fireworks, his heart overflowing with warmth. He felt connected to everyone around him, and in that moment, he realized that kindness was the true gift of the season. It was a gift that didn't need to be wrapped or given with ribbons. It was something that lived in every shared smile, every helping hand, and every small act of love. As the fireworks filled the sky, Luca made a promise to himself. He would carry the spirit of kindness with him, not just this new year, but every day of the year to come. And so, as the clock struck midnight and the fireworks painted the sky with vibrant colors, Luca's heart was filled with peace. The streets of Maplewood shone brightly with lights, and the air was full of laughter, love, and the promise of a new year. The greatest gift, Luca had learned, was not something you could hold in your hands. It was something you shared with others, something that made the world a brighter, kinder place. With that, Luca whispered to himself, "Happy New Year," knowing that the kindness he had shared would continue to grow, lighting the way for the year ahead.